Hi everybody, my name is Mark Porter and I'm the Chief Technology Officer of MongoDB. I'm excited to be here today with Dirk Slama, who's a Vice President at Bosch. Now, I think about Bosch as a company that maybe produces home appliances and some other things, but maybe Dirk, you'd like to introduce yourself and tell me a little bit about Bosch.
Yeah, Mark, thanks for having me tonight, and hi everybody, it's a pleasure to be here. And yes, obviously, that's what you see when you buy our products for use at your home. But obviously, Bosch is one of the largest engineering and manufacturing companies in the world. So we do a lot of things, from automotive to building technology, power tools, energy, manufacturing, and so on. So it's a pretty exciting company to work for.
That's awesome. So at my company, we're involved in back-end servers and databases and all that other stuff. And I have a feeling that you guys are also involved in a lot of the digitalization of the world. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
So at Bosch, for the last couple of years, really nearly, I think the last 10 years, digitalization for us was IoT, Internet of Things, which makes a lot of sense for a company that produces things en masse, right? And it's very powerful. It gives us access to assets and products. It gives us remote control, insights, and so on. But over the last 2 years, really, the paradigm has shifted because AI has been added to the equation, artificial intelligence. And what this does is it really gives us smart connected products now. And this means that we can either have the smartness directly built into the products, or we can even have swarm intelligence in the backend when we gather data about products in the field, fleets of products, and so on. And we've actually even given this paradigm shift a name. We're now talking about AIoT, the artificial intelligence of things.
That is pretty exciting. I like the term AI, artificial intelligence, plus IoT, AIoT. That's a nice term you've coined. So when I think about data, and I think about all this data coming in from all these devices into whatever data store it goes into and however it flows through, one of the things I really think about is that AI is about pattern matching a lot of the time and figuring out patterns and trends. And IoT has so much data, like zettabytes of data. So how are you proceeding forward with your AIoT effort? What does that actually mean to make devices smarter?
That's a very good point. So it very much depends on the use case. Yeah, the new distributed pattern is very much about edge and cloud, in my opinion, at least. So it's not either or. And depending on the use case, it means that we're adding intelligence to the edge when we need processing closer to the product or asset in the field. Yeah? And it also means adding intelligence to the cloud when we need to collect data from many devices in the field and add this swarm intelligence that I was talking about early on. And what's interesting is that in this whole scenario, of course, there's a lot of agility. There's a lot of things that you discover as you go. Agility obviously is an agile project approach, but it also means that we need agile technology. And this is why, for example, in the backend, I like NoSQL technology so much, and this is why I'm glad to be here tonight and have a chance to talk to you, because with this approach, we're able to add, sensors and fields that we're reading out on the fly without having to go through a whole schema redesign every time that we need to implement a change.
That's exciting. So MongoDB was founded with this idea of the document model, which lets you change your scheme as you need, add fields, keep the data together. So like an entire IoT sensor could go into one document. And I got to think that as sensors change and evolve, that the needs of their data storage change. They add a field, they subtract a field, etc. That's pretty important. Can you tell me a little bit about the amount of data? So is this AI just about reducing the amount of data, or is it also about doing inference and training and things like that, both in the servers and out in the field? What's going on there with technology speaking?
Right. It's a very good question. So I think there's, well, at least two AI use cases in this. The one is what I would call reconstruction. Yeah? So you have the physical signal coming in from the sensors, and what you want to do is you want to reconstruct in a logical way, for example, utilizing digital twin approaches, the digital version of the real physical asset in the field. And then the second type of AI obviously is then to make use of that, either specifically for control of the product or for adding business value in the backend via swarm intelligence.
That's pretty exciting. I like that. I like the idea of the business intelligence, so that's how people can use the data. I like the idea of doing this inference out in the network. Obviously training takes an awful lot of data to do really good training, and you got to do training in real time. So I think I'll switch gears here a little bit. I work for Mongo and you work for Bosch, but I think it's pretty clear the two of us can't do it together. And in fact, I think you've started an effort. Can you tell us a little bit about the effort to more democratize and widen the access to these technologies?
Yeah, what we did is we helped setting up an AIoT user group. It's an open initiative, so it's free and open for everybody to join. We're bringing together end users working on exciting AIoT business cases and use cases together with technology experts and consultants and so on, and share best practices for creating AIoT solutions. We also have a co-creation approach, which allows us to rapidly utilize these best practices to try out things together in this ecosystem, the AIoT user group. And it's started a couple of months ago now, and we've now actually even local working groups in Germany, in Singapore, in Shanghai. We're just starting to work with folks in America, and we see actually a lot of passion around AIoT and these different types of experts coming together.
That is very exciting. So what I'm learning is that it's new, this user group, and you're going to try and pull together solutions, you're going to try and pull together companies. That's pretty exciting. So where could I find out more about AIoT if I wanted to?
So the passion is right baked into the URL, so it's aiot.rocks.
That's awesome. So aiot.rocks, like it rocks, like it's awesome. So, when I think about what's going on in data today, and I think about AI and everything that's going on, can you tell me, what do you think is the next gap? What do you think is the thing we should be focusing on next, Dirk? Getting
agility into all of this without losing control is an important thing. Yeah? So what we see in AIoT, you have a lot of domains and features that you have to actually get what we call right on day one, right? So when you start going live, it has to be perfect for safety and security reasons, or because it's actually somehow tied to hardware. And once you start deploying hardware in the field, there's no way back. Yeah? But then we also have a lot of features which are agile, where you want to continuously improve system performance. And I do think designing smart connected products that are as much agile as possible within the constraints that we are facing in AIoT, I think that's really a big focus area for us. And obviously, any kind of agile project method that we're developing in the AIoT user group is helpful. Any kind of agile technology that helps us, like the NoSQL technology and what you guys are providing, we were talking about earlier on. This is all part of the bigger picture.
So there's so much here that's so interesting that I'm hearing. So first off, I'm hearing about agility. And so I think of hardware as maybe revving once every 6 months. But I also think about software on my phone revving every week or two. And sometimes in cloud services, they rev software every day. So this agility is amazing. I'd love to hear a little bit more about that. But I'd also like to hear a little bit more about, once all this data gets in all the different places in the network, in all the tiers of the network, up to my back-end servers and on mobile devices running my apps, have you guys thought about security, privacy, compliance, and regulation? Is that in the framework as well?
Yes, we're really trying to take a very holistic way in the framework, and all the aspects that you mentioned, we're looking at this specifically from the perspective of AIoT. So how is AIoT changing, for example, the DevSecOps cycle? How is AIoT changing data management? How can we, from an architectural management point of view, dissect systems in a way that we have certain buckets of the system which can be developed in an agile way using continuous improvement, and then the other buckets where we put features where we know we have to get them right the very first time, because we're either implementing them in hardware that cannot be changed, or because it's very security and safety relevant. And all these are aspects that we're trying to address. Let me just say, Mark, I mean, hardware, yes, availability changes every 6 months, but if we build a physical appliance and put it in the field, it needs to stay stable much longer than this. I mean, how often do you change your refrigerator or your heating appliance, right? So we're not talking about exchanging this every 6 months. But on the other hand, we want to be able in the future to add new functionality, add smartness to those things that we can't change. And this is why it's important that this AIoT frameworks is taking such a holistic view on this. This is not easy, but I think we have made some headway.
That's pretty exciting. I'm excited by the scope of the framework. So businesses today must be able to process data that is given to them from any place they get it. And companies today are gated by the speed of their innovation. So basically, if you can't develop apps fast and you can't develop on the right platform, you're gonna lose your competitive advantage. And it sounds like you're working on that and we're working on that. And so I'm pretty excited about AIoT.rocks. I'm excited about MongoDB.com. Is there anything you wanna say in closing today, Dirk?
So Mark, let me actually ask you a question about agility. What are your plans of allowing users to put AI directly into MongoDB in the future and develop AIoT applications in an even more agile way?
Well, thank you. By the way, we actually are putting data into MongoDB and using it for AIoT today, though I didn't know we were calling it that until this meeting today. So what we're doing is we have a set of partners we work with who actually have customers who ingest their data, and using Kafka and other methods, they can ingest data or outgest data to their stores. But the new way that we're finding is people are working directly with the MongoDB data store, and they're doing training of models directly in MongoDB, and they're doing inference of models, which is i.e. getting results and predictions right there. And it's so exciting. And what we see them doing is they're spreading across, not just spreading across a single cluster, but they're spreading these training and inferences across the world, in distributed clusters across the world, because all these devices aren't all in one place. And so moving forward, what I think I've learned here today about you and your initiative bringing AI and us bringing a solid data framework to the back of it, it just seems very exciting. And what I'd like to say is, Bosch is doing something great, we're doing something great, but I think it's better together.
Excellent. I like to hear that. Mark, thanks for having me. I love working with you guys, and I definitely look forward to talking to you again soon.
Sounds great. Dirk, thank you for joining me today and talking with me today about data and devices and the way the world is going. I think the world is accelerating in its innovation and excitement, and this is just one example of it. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.